Hello, everybody.
Hey.
We're outside tonight, and it is mosquitoes out here a little bit, so we're going to stay here as long as we can. If you look, we'll
Lena,
separate here.
that is our view from the RV.
We're actually camped at Gunnersville State Park in Alabama, and we have a lot right on the water down here. We're about 30 feet from the water, and beautiful. There's deer, believe it or not, that run through this park all the time. Mama deer and little baby deer and stuff. This park is been famous for that. I've One year we were here, there were about 100 deer laying all over the place. They've gotten a little shy. I think I've only seen a
No, they're still here.
couple of mamas and babies in here. I got a word today. Uh,
I'm fixing to.
in fact, is this Aaron?
Yeah, that's Aaron.
Aaron, have you heard anything else on Doc, his condition? She emailed me and told me that Julie took Doc to the hospital today, that it was he might be doing real well. Have you
Julie is
heard?
one of our longtime subscribers, and
Yeah.
she is just fantastic and just loves people.
Right, and we just want to ask everybody to remember him in your prayers. Okay, yeah, right. That he is.
We were supposed to go visit them
Yeah,
in Idaho.
yeah, and
They even cleaned house for us to come, but we told them it'd be a while.
we couldn't make it this year. Maybe maybe looking towards after maybe February, March.
Whoops.
We'll head out there. Their house actually is real close to a place called Craters of the Moon. It's a really neat place out there. I think it's about 50 or 60 miles. And I feel like I got my hair sticking up right here. It feels like a horn or something coming in there.
Well, it's because you're so mean.
Is
Here, I'll pat it down.
No, don't do that. Um,
Give you a
great.
little bit of water.
Great.
It's the Southern way.
Pray for Doc and Julie. That's right,
Yeah.
exactly. We all need to be praying for them. Apparently, Doc may be not doing real well, and we just really need to remember him. Since we're outside, let me see. He has a blood clots in his vein, 90% blockage in his femoral artery. Ugh. His oxygen's low, and he was confused.
And Julie's exhausted. Yep.
Oh, wow.
She's been having to take care of him for quite a while.
Yeah.
I mean, not having to. She has been taking care of her husband for quite a while. I didn't mean it like that. She loves Doc, and she would do anything to have him well again.
Yeah, I wonder why they can't do a surgery on that or stent
Well,
it.
maybe they are. It's just
The stent that. I don't know if they can or not. Got to find where I was at.
need a B12.
No, I don't need a B12. The three main cases that we are keeping up with. Case of Michael Vaughn, he is still missing, and we don't have any word on him. I checked earlier today, nothing. I think now they're calling it a possible abduction, but they're not. They haven't came right out and said it yet. I know that they are saying that he is endangered, so that would be it's been gone nearly a month, I think. Of course, summer. Nothing new. As of 5 this evening. I haven't watched anybody else. I did watch the video that I think Maui was telling me about with Chris McDowell when he was playing the phone call between Candace and Mary or one of the others, and it was total hoax. I don't know why they did that, but they ought to go to jail for interfering. I did check on these young boys, and nothing else is on that up to that either. No, no new news at all coming out of Bakersfield at all. I wish I knew somebody out there to call personally, but I haven't. We have some kind of sad news. This is a gentleman we featured the other night, missing in Illinois as a grad student. They found his car. They were searching a river and they found a body, and they think it may be him, but they can't verify it right now because they said that they made the autopsy. Body's in real bad conditions. The autopsy may take a couple weeks even for
No
him to
idea
do
what
it.
happened.
No idea yet. So that's something. This was a missing person case too that I looked on NamUs, and NamUs does not have this one, but it's weird because she was in I think it was a basketball team that beat this, wasn't expected to win, but beat this other team, and her name's all over the news about winning that game. However, not much. Not much news about the disappearance, but you want to read that?
She has a tattoo, beautiful, on her left clavicle, and live, love, laugh on her left bicep. She is believed to have her backpack and purse shown below with her. Sabrina left home sometime in the middle of the night on 8/31/21 and has been missing since. She was driving a silver 2007 Saturn Ion. Information received indicate that she was seen 9/1/21 at an abandoned house in Minnetonka, Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 9/2/21, her car was located there. Her phone has been off since the night she left, but was last picked up at a cell tower near Angora at 9:50 on 9/1. We have also received messages indicating she may have been taken out of state by people she didn't know and may be in danger. If any of you have information of her whereabouts, please contact her mom and the Scottsbluff Police.
There in Nebraska, and if you go and Google her name, it's amazing. I mean, she was all over that game that she played in. I mean, apparently she was the basketball star like in this game, and then boom, comes up missing. It's really weird.
Did you realize that she is listed as indigenous woman?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, she is. She's listed as a missing and endangered.
What is this though? Also, before we get into what we're going to talk about tonight, this one was a odd count, a very odd case. This girl was supposedly went hiking, and I can't even pronounce her last name.
Barsodi.
That's very
Rebecca
good.
Barsodi Grace.
She went with her dog. Her car was found at a rest area with all her stuff in it, all of her ID and her phone and everything in it. And there's a creek down near where she went hiking, and her dog was found deceased in the creek, and she is missing, and they have not found her or her body yet. So they're asking for people, especially in that area, to be on the lookout for her. I'm kind of confused though why they found her car at a rest area. I mean, if she was hiking, wouldn't it be at a trailhead?
Maybe it was the rest of the trailhead, you know?
No, I don't know. Let me get it. All right, we're moving along tonight. Maybe because I'm hot. It's very hot out here.
Somebody said if your face got dirty, I could give you a spit bath, you know?
Wrong answer. Thank you for playing. I go in there and take a shower in the RV. We got a nice big shower. This girl here on the right is what she looked like when she was abducted. This is an age progression photo of what they think she may look like.
How long ago?
This one actually was last seen in 1995. Um,
6 years old.
yeah, she was at 10:45 p.m. on June the 9th, 1995 in Alma, Arkansas. 6-year-old Morgan Nix was abducted from her Little League ball game by an unknown, unidentified male. Witnesses observed a man watching her and as she was playing ball with other children, with other children. The witnesses also saw a red Ford pickup with a white camper shell nearby that disappeared at the same time as Morgan. The man was described as a white male, 6 foot tall, medium to solid build, mustache, and a 1 inch beard. He he is believed to have been between 23 and 38 years of age at the time of the abduction. You don't see a whole lot of stranger abductions, but this is it here. This is just um, another thing on it. Said it was in near a baseball field. Morgan was asked her mother if she could go catch lightning bugs with friends. And at first, her mother was uncertain, but eventually let her go. And I don't know if you know it or not, but that's pretty much standard child behavior in the South.
Yeah.
She was last seen at 10:45 by her friends emptying the sand out of her shoes alone near her mother's car, while a group of friends emptied their shoes a dozen feet away. Morgan's friends reported seeing a creepy man talking to Morgan as she was putting on her shoes back on. When the game ended shortly thereafter, Morgan's friends returned without her. They told Colleen that Morgan's was at her car, but when Colleen returned her car, Morgan was not there. She's not been seen since. And this is a picture of the drawing of the possible suspect. I mean that whoever did the drawing did a pretty good drawing, but
That was probably from
I've
6-year-olds.
yeah,
describing it.
well, yeah, I've actually seen 100 people like this before. Honestly, that's pretty generic. Pretty generic. The car, I think, would be the big key. I think the truck rather. Um, so though she's still missing today, the thing that one of the reasons why I brought this up was they re-aired this on TV and they had some leads in the case.
I'll be right back.
She's still missing today. Has found out a lot of hope in the doc. They did a documentary apparently about it. Since the aired in Arkansas, there have been 200 leads that have come in. Some of those leads have never been called in before. Her mother said she always held out hope that her daughter would be returned even 26 years later. Said these leads are valid, and that's pretty good for a police organization to say that. They are good leads that have been investigated at the local, state, federal level. The Still Missing Morgan documentary took 2 years to piece together, and after watching the 90-minute segment, Colleen is pleased on how it's depicted her daughter's disappearance. Um, we provide home video that has been never been seen before, and I believe the documentary does a lot good job showing what's happened to her that night. Let me cut that up banner out, and maybe I can show you what that says at the bottom. Morgan was playing with two friends near a ball field the night of June the 9th of 1995. Where am I at? It goes on to say they provided the home video, and I believe that the documentary did a good job. Let's see. When it started running it back to the bleacher. Morgan stopped to tie her shoe, and that's the last time anybody saw the 6-year-old. So that guy could have snatched her up, covered her mouth, and took off running with her. The 26 year later, the documentary showed the red pickup truck with a white camper shell. They said
That ought to
detectives
be.
made the truck a priority in the investigation. They believe it might have been involved in Morgan's abduction. I'm going to tell you something about this I read that is very, very weird, and I kind of think they may have found the guy that did it on this. It's believed that it may have been involved in her abduction, and they have been asking the people to look for the truck or think about it at that time and encouraged to call police. Now, here's a post that I copied from another website. This apparently was a post that said here, and I cut the top of it off. I apologize for that. I don't know what the deal is, why this thing did not go that well, but said over his shirt he was acting fast as he burned. Oh, this was where, let me see if I can pull the first, maybe it's not the first one yet. Uh, Hold on one second. Let me go. This is very important. So let me look real quick and make sure I kind of, have, apparently I didn't get the first page of this, but apparently they had a person call in or post something on one of the documented pages where they said they believe they knew this guy and that they, it was so good. Let me see if I can. Oh man, did I do that? I know what I did. Hold on, guys. Screenshots. I screenshotted that. Hold on one second. Okay, let me put this one down here and see if this is the first page of this. Then I'll go up to it. Okay, yeah. Teach me how to Duchess. I don't know what that is. This is somebody said. Here's the latest comment on a page from a lady swearing up and down that she knows exactly what happened. He has actually been arrested for it, but since his death, he, uh, they thought he couldn't do any harm like that. He
What?
admitted that it is all. He admitted to all and had an interpreter, and they said since he have has an interpreter, then the interpreter could not be saying the exact thing that what
Oh,
they're afraid the interpreter made
yeah.
him look guilty. So I guess it's going to have to get a get 2 or 3 interpreters be at the same time, make sure he's got it. But the man Bart went into nasty, nasty details, something that
No one.
no one can make up. His grandparents had a truck that the was the truck at the ball field, gap and all. He told cops that he did it and killed her, and someone very, very close to Morgan told the cops, and are just trying to ruin a poor man's life. No, oh, someone very, very close to Morgan told the cops that that you're just trying to
Oh God.
ruin a poor man's life, all because he is dead. Now he's dead. Cops came, wait, and not dumb. He he went to a truck stop where he met a friend for coffee, and the cops came and put a flyer up, but they they walked around the truck stop showing pictures of Morgan. Bart's eyes lit up and said he didn't see her, and as soon as the cops left his hands were shaking and he felt sick. He had to leave the coffee and his friend and go home. A few days later, he called his friend to pick him up when his friend when his friend, before he knew any of this happened, his friend asked for a ride for morning coffee. Johnny asked, "What happened to your truck?" He said, "The motor went out, and here's the key, motor went out, and I went and I had it smashed."
Oh my gosh.
Johnny was selling a blue truck at the time, and Bart asked if he could buy it. Johnny said, "Yes, that will be fine." When Bart bought the truck a few weeks ago, and they were drinking coffee again, Bart tells Johnny he is the one who killed Morgan, that he said that he lured her with candy, and she came right to the truck. He was very, very drunk at the time, so he doesn't know if he killed her, but he said he dumped her body in a landfill at Fort Smith. Bart then said he went home and woke up the next morning with blood all over his shirt. He had to act fast, so he burnt the shirt in a burn barrel. Uh, so I don't know if y'all know what a burn barrel is, but they're all over the place up in the South, especially in the country. Uh, he, let's see, burn barrel at his grandparents' house. When Bart thought the blue truck, he bought the blue truck from Johnny. The cops searched the blue truck at McDonald's in Alma. They found tons of blonde hair in there and took all of it for DNA, but found out it belonged to Johnny's daughter, and they weren't harmed. They weren't harmed in any way.
The guy that sold him the truck.
Okay.
Bart bought the truck from Johnny, and Johnny.
All right, read that because I'm having a difficult time reading it. My
Where
glasses.
you at? They found tons of
blonde
cops
hair. Okay. Let him go.
Cops let him go. Johnny felt sick when he was told everything he had done and that he was the one who took her from the ball field. Then Johnny turned him in to the cops. Bart came clean and said he did kidnap her. He was drunk. He remembered where he put her. Cops had an interpreter there but would not hold up because they said the interpreter could have been adding their own words into it. So grandparents threatened to sue the city of Alma. Bart is walking free man. When he got out of jail, he smiled from ear to ear and moved out of the state about 3 years later. 2 years ago, he was put in a nursing home because he was eat up with cancer and moved to Montana. I know you guys don't believe a word I'm saying, and y'all that's completely fine. I know the truth, and so does Alma. Why they're doing this is nuts to me. I can't even put my head around how the community can sit there and say they don't have a man when they do. I know there's a lot of prime suspects, a lot of child molesters, and a lot of evil people in this world, but y'all, I have kids of my own, and I'm not doing this for the fame or hero stats. I'm doing this because I know this man did it, and so did the police. I called the FBI. I called Morgan Nick. I called the FBI. Morgan Nick, and I called Alma Police Department. I emailed Morgan's mom, and I have not gotten any phone calls back, not at all. You guys can believe me or not, but this is the truth, and I'm only doing it my own investigation because they don't do the right thing, and the wrong man will end up behind bars, and they know that. I'm a mom, and I want people to go over the world for my kids. Wait a minute. I'm a mom, and I would want people to go over the world if it was my kids. Thank you.
So that's odd. If it's true, that would, sounds like it. She just goes, wait a minute. She says this girl says, she sounds 100%. You never know what people online, though. It's sad to say, but there are people out in this wood that say anything for attention. If that is true, and the only thing is, though, if they can't prove it, they don't need to close the investigation. That.
But if he's in a nursing home now, to go talk to him.
Yeah, for sure and get 2 or 3 interpreters, if nothing else. We got some light up here. I think that other light came up here. Yeah, it's kind
And
of
then there
weird.
was light.
And this was another one that I wanted to feature too. This is Melanie Ann Jones. She's an endangered missing. Last seen in 1983. And I know we kind of
She's
don't.
Native American.
She's Native American, and I know sometimes you think, well, they're gone that long, there's no way of getting them back, but that's not true.
Remember the 3 women in Cleveland being held in the basement?
Yeah. But there's something about this one that Melanie was last seen in Ellsboro, Oklahoma in 1983. Spent the day fishing with her family. Her younger brother came to give her a ride home, but dropped her off. Her brother noticed that the door was ajar. Oh yeah, this is it. The door was ajar. Lights were on inside the home. As Melanie went inside, she's never been heard from again. The following morning, after Melody failed to show up at work at Dairy Queen in Seminole, Oklahoma, her mother went to the Jones home to check on her. Melanie's husband of 2 years, 20-year-old Paul Richard Jones, was found stabbed to death inside the residence. Photograph of Paul was posted in the case summary. He had been killed in the bedroom sometime during the night. All of Melanie's belongings, including her purse, sunglasses, or eyeglasses, are still there. The contents of her purse were dumped on the floor, and the couple's car is parked in the driveway. There is no sign of forced entry and no indication that a robbery or domestic dispute had occurred. Extensive search of the area turned up no sign of Melanie. Her family believes she was abducted, whoever murdered Paul, and police agree that there is likely the scenario she was acting normal prior to disappearance, and there is no apparent problems in their marriage. Paul's murder is never solved. No suspects have ever been identified, and the death of Melanie is presumed a kidnapping. And I'll go by here and show you. This is her pictures right there. She is Native American, also 4'11", 140 pounds. That is just a very, very strange thing that happened. And I want to show you this, but where is our son?
He's walking our dogs. He'll be back.
Okay. Our son's in the studio all week. He is trying to get his latest album produced, and they've given him.
They're producing it.
They're producing him. They gave him money, so I mean that's the main thing.
Stick your head in here, boy. This is our son Dakota.
Hi.
Handsome guy, isn't he?
He favors his daddy. I mean, what can
He
I
does
say?
not. He looks like his mom. This mom, not his natural mom. He looks like his adopted mom.
I guess.
I think you favor me myself.
I think I look like both of y'all, which is strange.
Yeah, he does.
Come on, I'm getting tangled up.
Okay. The girl in the picture is cold case solved, actually. And this
They're saying hi, Dakota.
This case was actually solved by her by an amateur sleuth, amateur forensics guy, Carl Copeland. Put his art and tech skills to work, in an amateur forensic help police connect seemingly unrelated crimes. Aware that how many dead bodies were found in suspicious circumstances were unidentified, Copeland recreated pictures of the deceased as living person, hoping that they would be more recognizable by those who knew them. As a volunteer, he was instrumental in solving several cold cases. In 2009, he came across the 1999 case of an unidentified woman found dead in Racine County, Wisconsin, where nobody knew her. Looking through missing person reports, he saw the case of Audrina Bowman, who had been missing since 1989 and was considered a runaway, could she had been the murderer 10 years later. And then he actually did. He solved that case, or actually put a body with the unidentified Jane Doe. It said here in Racine County, Jane Doe shared the physical characteristics or ages aligned with him, and been 25. Which the missing person there would have been 25 in 1999 when the Jane Doe was killed. Holland, where Andrea, I guess it is, disappeared, sits directly across Lake Michigan, where the Jane Doe was found. It's just been 4 hours by car ride from one location to the other, tracing the lake southern shore and passing through Chicago. The possible identification, Koppelman created a composite image superimposing Andrea's photo with one of the Jane Doe's autopsy. He marked these similarities in red from where he did that, and he just basically identified the body. Said but Andrea's birth mother was found, Kathy Turkeston, and no idea of what happened to her daughter. She relinquished un, I guess that's relinquished until someone called wanting DNA to identify a dead body. When she learned of the case, she teamed up with Koppelman to find Andrea's killer. Their investigation uncovered a lot of other crimes in a story that is disturbing, to say the least. Read how the murder was solved more than 30 years after she went missing at age 14. So it just shows you that even these little things that we do out here, that they can be found. I mean, people can be found through web investigations. That's all it is. And there's another one that I wanted to end the night with, and it's kind of a really bizarre type thing, but it goes to show you can't trust anybody with your kids until you really get to know them. Or I don't even think. Well, we have our own personal stories about leaving our kids with somebody we think are nice and they're not. This abducted in plain sight. She was actually abducted twice. You believe that, by the same guy?
Oh gosh.
This guy was a family friend, went to church with these people, they just loved him, actually felt like he was a member of their family. And so when their child had been actually going over and visiting at the house, and when they disappeared the first time, she was gone 5 days before the parents actually called the police. They figured that they were gone, and this is a real bizarre thing. They were gone, involved in some type of accident. They told the police, we don't think that anything is wrong. They felt like that they were involved in an accident. And this case was actually featured on Netflix, which I'm going to go back and try to find it, because it sounds like it'd be a pretty interesting case. But this thing goes on for years. Like I'm saying, like 30 years time this thing actually gives.
I'm with Beach Bum, she says.
He looks strange. And I mean, he even looks strange. He really does. But he basically kidnaps her, takes her to Mexico, convinces. I'm not going to go through reading this whole thing, but I'm going to tell you what happened, okay? He goes and he convinces her that she was kidnapped by aliens, and that alien leader told her she was going to have to have sex with a man, this guy, and if she refused to do the things that he wanted, that her parents would be evaporated. And she was convinced. I mean, she was young, 9 years old, something, She was absolutely believed him totally. So he basically raped this little girl, molested her, did all kinds of stuff to her. And finally, when the FBI got involved, and with this also, and it says he actually taken Jan to Mexico, spun such a tale that he was 12 years old at this time, and then let him abuse her sexually and mentally. He had drugged her and taken her to Mexico desert. When she woke up, she was lying in his motorhome, and there was a tape recorder which she spoke to her, telling her that he taped it. What an idiot. Had been taken by aliens and must have a child by a man chosen by the aliens, which is this, to save the dying planet. And of course, he was the guy. And basically, if she didn't do this, that her parents would be vaporized.
Oh my gosh.
And you think, you don't know what kind of family she grew up in or whatever. This is the picture of him too. So the FBI was able to track him 5 weeks, and but the thing that he had brainwashed her, telling her she would need to stay away from boys and must not tell anybody about the aliens, and see, or she would get her parents to get evaporated. And the FBI found the duel. Jan had never reported the sexual abuse and only spent a few days. He'd only spent a couple of days in jail, which I don't understand how that would have been. But apparently, the parents, had didn't feel like that they could prosecute him even after months after the kidnapping. But here's the weird one. Okay, and here's the weird thing. If y'all look at the bottom of
mean
this
there's more?
picture, there it gets worse. The fact was revealed that later on that this idiot, this pervert, persuaded both the mother and the father to have sex with him after the first kidnapping. Now, what
What?
kind of
Wait a
parent?
minute.
Yes. The mother and father were persuaded to have sex with him.
Oh my gosh.
He videotaped it or something and then turned around and blackmailed both of them to get him out of jail, keep him out of jail, where they
okay.
refused to press charges for kidnapping their daughter
Don't you think that the
the
police
first time.
could have?
Well, back in those days, you had to have a victim swear out a warrant.
God, that's crazy.
Nowadays, you don't. The state can do it, but Robert kidnapped Jan for the second time. The FBI rescued Jan the first time from Mexico. She kept in contact with him, and because of the alien threats, he kidnapped her the second time in 1976 when she was 14, 2 years after the first kidnapping. They landed in California then, where he enrolled her in a Catholic school and posed as her father, claiming to be a CIA agent.
Oh, crazy.
Even after rescue 4 months later, he continued to using the alien story until she was 16 years old. Now, see, this started when she was 12, 16. It's 4 years there. Said this
Yeah.
is where her life, the sexual abuse, constant blackmail, she lived this way until she was 16. And then she noticed some things. She went to summer camp. Things happened. She encountered boys and panicked. So a boy brought her ice cream. She immediately called home and found out that both her parents were still alive. Shows her mind poked at her at times. She broke the rules given to her by her kidnapper and supposedly alien, and found out everything was fine. She realized that what she was happening and that it was a lie. But this guy was still 2 steps ahead. He had gotten Jan's parents, Bob and Mary Ann, to sign affidavits so the FBI didn't hold much weight against him, and he just was given 5 years probation and 5 years in prison, which he never served. And that was for all that stuff. He only got 5 years probation, 5 years in prison. Never served a bit of the prison term. Um, Said, did she ever do justice? And it said that it's known fact that he had committed these acts of pedophilia in young girls, multiple families, and
What?
had was rebuked by his church council. It had been rebuked. He has never approximately sentenced. When the story about the sexual abuse was finally came out, uh, Jan revealed facts, uh, what would happen over the next 10 years. She went to counseling and tried to going back to a normal life. Uh, though he wanted to do more, he was back after 30 long years disappearance. So he basically disappeared out of sight for 30 years. And then he started to harass Jan in public events because apparently she was an actress. And you'll see a picture of her in a minute. And I recognized her once I saw her. Charges were filed against him, and he was brought into court, although he killed himself before he could be sentenced. And
Well, he
was
can't hurt any other
only
families.
served 15 years in prison for the horrendous acts of sexual abuse. And that, he needed to serve a whole lot more. Maybe he got his due in prison. I don't know. And it said, who was at fault? The whole story was an example of what can be transcribing in front of your own eyes. But we could neglect, or negligence about it, and completely ignorance. So the only thing I say is, and it goes back to terrorism and anything else. If you see something, say something. If you think somebody's being abused, if you think something's not quite right, if you see somebody that's acting real funny with a real young girl, report it. It's not gonna. I mean, the DHR, the Department of Human Resources, will come out and they investigate it. And if nothing's going on, nothing will be taken. No action will be taken. Um, Says here, such is the case of Jan's parents. They were not comfortable with a man lying in a bed with a 12-year-old daughter for multiple nights, all under the pretense of needing therapy. But they still let him do it. The parents could not have made such an impact
Ah,
when finally under the FBI could have gotten a lifetime sentence if they just went to the FBI.
if they
But
hadn't
they
screwed his
withheld
life.
charges under his pressure and threats. They never cut off communication with their daughter's kidnapper. That's another thing. They never even cut off. He was still made kind of a part of their family. After getting to know about what under the happened to Jan under the roof of her own home, it seems terrifying to trust anybody with your children's innocence. And this gives us a lesson in trust, but never be naive. And I agree with that. You can't trust. I mean, here's her now, and I've seen her in some things. She has worked as an actress, and it says actor, but it's actually actress. She's name's Jan. Several decades. In 1992, she landed her first acting role in Heidi's Swamp TV movie, In the Line of Duty, Siege at Marion. Um, the career took off after she landed a WB series Everwood in 2002. She attempted to enter into this guy also, before he died, attempted to enter an event where she was speaking 30 years later, on the at 30 years after her second kidnapping, during her book and speaking tour, and they sought a restraining order, and he was opposed to it, of course, but she was granted a lifetime restraining order against this guy in 2004, after he having to enter a courtroom to face never having to enter a courtroom to face this guy again. Uh, see, it goes here. He continued to. She continued to persuade her acting career with Zale appearing in a number of TV show and films, Manic, The Haunt, Iron Man 3. In 2017, she was appointed executive director of the Kalita Art Foundation. 2018, she played a typical character in the center productions of Driving Miss Daisy. She was most recently on True TV's I'm Sorry series. And that's that other. But, I'm people like that need to go to jail forever, in my opinion. Pedophiles, I have no use for them. And to take advantage of a child under any circumstances, no use for 'em.
Erin said earlier, she said, I remember watching on Netflix, horrific. Sorry to say, but the parents were a couple of sandwiches shy of a picnic.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely
But it says he did that
contributed
to
to
other
that.
families. So it
Yeah,
wasn't just one.
I don't know, but they contributed to that. I mean, you can't do the things they did with that guy. I mean, that's craziness, That's really crazy.
Okay.
Okay.
No, listen.
What are we doing?
I heard a mosquito just now tell the other mosquito, you want to eat them here or carry them home.
Oh, Lord.
So I'm going to go in. You got to do something with that over there. See those? Look at those. See how pretty they are?
Yeah, they're very, very pretty.
Y'all, it was nice
It
being
was
with
nice
you tonight.
being with you. Remember to pray for
Julie's
Julie
on here.
and Doc and the whole family. And we just really pray that Doc's.
Yes, Aaron. Both parents had sex with
Yeah,
the
that's
monster.
a craziness. I'm gonna delete
Look at
some
that.
of
Julie
these.
said, Medina, 50 infants recovered from Downwards Funeral Home in, Pocatello, Idaho.
Wow.
Okay, I'm getting eaten alive.
Okay, I'll be there in a minute. You want to do something with that over there? You gonna make? I'm sorry, people. I'm trying to delete some of this stuff. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time. We will remember, of course, Doc and in our prayers, and Julie and the family. And Julie, please keep us abreast of what's going on with Doc, how he's doing, if he's still in the hospital, and please tell him for me that we are praying for him and we are thinking about him. And I probably think about Doc once a day, even when he's doing good. I just something about that man and Julie that means so much to us here on this channel. And we just ask you to pray for him and his family and that miracle. I mean, we serve a great physician. Doctors can say that it's bad, but we know that God's in control. That's all that matters. So we're going to let you go. We are outside and the mosquitoes are buzzing around my ears right now. But if y'all need anything, be sure to email us and keep in touch. And we will see you on Thursday at 7 o'clock. And we love you guys, and I hope everybody has a great night. And Julie, I don't know. There's some very, very sick people in this world. There's very, very sick people in this world. And unfortunately, there's a mosquito. I unfortunately have seen a few of them in my job, and they're definitely sick people. All right. We will see y'all Thursday, and call us if you need anything. We love you guys. Good night.